Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Salaam Britain. Now listen, I don't know if you were watching me before or if you've been with me since 10 a.m, but we've had a really eventful morning so far. From news from across the world to 3 incredible guests on my couch today, award-winning individuals who are doing incredible work for the community and in particular our future generations, the Ummah, the Muslims of the future. So we've got with us Kulthum Satar, who is working with Qibla Youth. She's the winner of the Wadea Al-Fayoume Award for Team Development. We have Idris Faizy, who is from Ashford and Staines. He is Head of Operations for MYSoc and the winner of the Hind Rajab Award for Most Youth-Led Organisation. And finally, we have the incredible Zainab from GreenStars at MCEC, and she's the head of youth leadership in terms of female, and she's the winner of Shaban Al-Dalou Award for Most Resilient Youth Hub. So, once again, I'd like to welcome them all. Assalamu alaikum again, guys. Listen, I know we've been having a little bit of a natter whilst we were on break, and I am completely in awe of the work you're all doing and blown away. And there is a question that I wanted to ask you, and I already asked you in the break, and I love the fact that you answered. So I asked the sisters and the brother here that what makes you different, what makes you stand out from the rest, and they said it, and I don't think they even realized it, but I picked up on it. One of the sisters said, well, we don't want to be different and we don't want to stand out, we're all here to do the same thing. And subhanAllah, that was the beautiful thing that you said, and you didn't even realize it, which is what differentiates you as a collective from others, because you're not about your organization, you're not about you as an individual, you are about the ummah, you are about changing that narrative. And obviously, Zainab, you were talking and you were so passionate with what you were saying, mashallah, which makes me want to ask you, is that what made you get into this in the first place? Tell me what inspired you and why did Zainab become who she is today?
Alhamdulillah, I was, when I was 9-10 years old, my parents moved from Kuwait to Mauritius.
Okay.
And it was a very strange move.
Yeah.
And obviously culture shock, coming from somewhere like Kuwait, going to somewhere like Mauritius, where they took Islam in a very literal sense, like girls can't wear jeans, can't have short hair. And I wore jeans, I had very short hair.
You were a young girl.
And, there was all these rules, and my parents, alhamdulillah, they could see that I was ill at ease, and they kept moving me from teacher to Islamic madrasa to another one. And alhamdulillah, we found the right fit.
SubhanAllah.
And a beautiful man that needs to be named by name, Imam Fuad. And he built what is a community.
Yeah.
That mosque was open to us all the time.
Yeah.
We were allowed to be who we were. We weren't made to feel ashamed or it was a very safe space.
Yeah.
Activities would happen all the time.
Yeah.
Women, there was cooking classes on the carpet,
on
the main hall. Obviously the mosque is treated with respect, but often, the caretakers come, the key is locked away, you can only pray on this space, you can't eat, you can't cook, you can't definitely not cook or anything. Whereas there, it was literally the beating heart of our community. We would go there, we were allowed to cook, spill, okay, clean it up, it's fine. And we were allowed to live in that space, and that was for the women. The men had activities, the women had activities, and us young ones were allowed to just use the space as we wanted. And as we grew older, our Imam, he would take us to the beach, and we would do wudu in the sea, and we would pray on the beach. He would take us mountain climbing. It wasn't... We were taught that Islam was everywhere, and you practice your religion wherever you are. You're Muslim, but you can still enjoy life.
Yes.
There was a love that was passed on to us for our religion, and a love that was passed on with the way we treat each other, with the way we, it's remembering that it's a way of life. Islam is a way of life, and that's what we were taught, and that has always stayed with me.
Yeah.
When I then came to England to study, it was another tough cultural shock
Yeah,
again.
of course.
Where I was in Bristol, and because of the course I did at uni, there were only 2 other Muslims, literally. Unfortunately, there wasn't that same openness. I wasn't welcomed within the Muslim community there. Circumstances, I don't know. Maybe I wasn't open enough. Allah knows best.
Yeah.
But I was given a very safe space with a church. So the church took me in. In the last year of uni, I actually lived in the church parish.
Wow.
And again, they knew I was Muslim, so I was allowed to practice my religion. I was encouraged to be different. I was encouraged to be me. I was encouraged to keep my faith and all my religious practices and be part of their community. So we would go mountain climbing, whitewater rafting, shooting. Sorry for anyone, I'm not the best shooter.
I'm glad.
But and then we would also have safe spaces where we would just be. And so I realized that how important that space was. And when I first moved to Palmer's Green, that was a bit of another shock.
That's another culture shock.
When I got married and I moved to Palmer's Green. And then I just started slowly because I've always been part of the community, and I felt that was important. And I just slowly started with the toddler group and then moved up to the youth club. And then since, alhamdulillah, we've just been growing it from strength to strength. We've accommodating more girls, accommodating more ages. We've just started a new group, which is 18 to 23-year-olds, because that was a group that was very important to me. Unfortunately, resources went in place.
Yeah.
Resources weren't in place at the time, but alhamdulillah, now our first official session for that group will be this Friday. So it's wonderful to be able to give back and be that safe space that was provided to me, and then hopefully, inshallah, the next lot of young men and women will take that up and provide it for the next generation, so that we can, as an ummah, get stronger and stronger as we go along the way.
Inshallah, inshallah. Listen, it sounds, like I said, it all sounds incredible, and it sounds like you've had a bit of a journey. I'm assuming you could probably speak multiple languages as well.
A couple.
Brilliant. Right, when I need translation, I'll give you a call. Now, Kulthum. Kulthum. I want to know from you, like obviously you've talked about your services, your workshops and the things that you're doing, but if there's anything that you're doing right now, is there anything that you wish was available to you when you were younger?
Yeah, I think for me, it's just making sure that we have a safe place for our young people. I really think it's really important that they have their voice and that they are heard and they are supported in decision making. Because I think when I was much younger, that wasn't there. And, making quite important decisions about your education, about friendships, about places you go, things that you talk about. I think there wasn't really that sort of nurturing place.
Do you think there was not enough information, or it was just not communicated to us in the right way?
Yeah, and it didn't really come from an Islamic point of view as well. So I work in a school, and I can't really see still some of that even now.
Yeah, of course.
And sometimes when young people speak to me in school and I hear the things they say, I know it's not quite right, because wherever they're getting that knowledge or information from, it's not from an Islamic point of view, it's more from a generalized point of view. And I just think it's really, for me, I feel like we have to be the beacon of Islam in those young people's lives, so we can keep bringing them back to where they should be, closer within their community, their Islamic community. And
it's amazing. Now, obviously, Southgate is a little bit of a new. It's on the rise, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Just down the road from you, isn't it?
Yes.
What kind of initiatives are you doing there to engage the community, to show them that you're kind of taking on board the gaps that were existing and you're trying to fill them. Is there anything specific?
I mean, yeah, they're doing lots of programs there. I mean, alhamdulillah, in 2 years we have lots of like, they have a food bank there.
Amazing.
They have classes for adults, and then obviously the youth services as well. It's just about basically making a hub for all the Muslims that live in that community that was lacking. It's funny because now I'm having met, you know, the mosque has now opened. I've met so many of the communities that live in Southgate that I just didn't know, and they were like on my doorstep. So it's really good, and it's providing kind of like a home from home for a lot of our attendees. So, you know, adults are there meeting other adults, but then also our children are meeting the children of those adults. So we are all becoming a supportive network. You know, you have that saying where it says it takes a village to raise a child, and I definitely think that is where the masjid should be. It should be a place where it's not just that you bring up your child the best way you believe. It's about the whole community coming together and bringing up that child. So, for instance, our children, they have great relationships with all the different other services that are provided at the mosque because they know who they are and they've spent time with them and they've helped build that community as well. So for young people, it's an inspiring place.
I suppose a feeling of responsibility and accountability, doesn't it? They feel like this is our project, this is our community. And I think it's so integral to embed that in them from a young age, because as they get older, they only become stronger pillars of that community. That's amazing, mashallah. And obviously, anyone that's listening and watching us right now from Southgate or Palmer's Green or any of the North London-based areas can come, visit, have access to your sessions and workshops, etc. Now, I'm going to move on to Brother Idris. Idris, Ashford and Saints. I mean, it's far off. It's a little far off. And we and you were having a little chat, and I was saying to you that I went to Ashford about 15 years ago, and when I went, there was no faith there. I didn't see any visible Muslims, that's for sure. It was not really that developed either. And obviously, it's come a long way from then, mashallah, which is amazing. Did you grow up in that area?
Yeah, so I mean, I moved into that area, I think, around 2010, I think. So
it's
most
been
of
a fair
most of my like teenagehood and part of
And how have you seen the Ummah and the community, or should we say the village, grow and develop in the last 14 years?
Yeah, no, it's very funny you say that, because the little place where at my parents' house was called Grove Village, so it's very close to that. And I mean, when we first moved there, I think we were probably one of two Muslim families in that area.
Oh, wow.
So even for myself, over the last 10, 15 years, we've definitely seen a massive growth in like the number of Muslims, but also people's acceptance of multi-faith and people from different demographics. So alhamdulillah, like and I guess this is one of the biggest things about having like a strong community, is that I think when there's more of you and people can start to recognize you a little bit more, and people are more accepting of you because you have an opportunity to show them who you are.
Yeah,
when
in a positive light.
In a positive light, precisely,
which is amazing.
Right? So that's why so much of the work that we do it's like we're showing the community these are the things that we're doing, and trying to paint a positive picture, and yeah.
MashaAllah. Well, listen, as I said before, congratulations to all three of you for the award that you received. Idris, I want to know, is there a story or a youth that stands out to you that you feel has really positively been impacted by the work you're all doing?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I think, first of all, in terms of the actual award, it's probably worth mentioning it was a team award. And
Alhamdulillah.
So, alhamdulillah, like our whole team, and unfortunately they're not here, but I think they're on the screen.
They're watching.
And
there they are on the screen.
On the screen, yeah. So, alhamdulillah, Muhammad and Ryan and Hamad and Aqib, all of these guys have really put together and pulled and put their efforts in. And I guess to name drop as well, I think without Ustad Muhammad Qazi, who has been really at the forefront, being the driving force behind all of this, and supporting us to deliver these events. We couldn't have done it without him. And I guess also to the trustees at the masjid, because some places you don't have as much freedom to kind of do these kind of initiatives. But back to your question in terms of...
I mean, masjids are famous for being political. There's always some kind of politics going on inside.
Absolutely. And so sometimes, trying to deliver an event or some sort of initiative can be taken in the wrong in the wrong way. So I guess that's why we've been so grateful to be able to do it.
Alhamdulillah.
And in terms of, what youth, I think the youth that we put forward for the most resilient youth was Zainab. And I guess for him, he's one of the reasons we put him forward for that event was he was the one that was encouraging all his friends around him to attend these events and really pushing them to come in and bringing them into the masjid. And our main goal is to connect the masjid to the youth. Because if we can get them to, if the masjid is the equivalent of the supermarket, how frequent they go there, or school, and that feeling of comfortability and habit, if they can have that with the masjid, then...
You want that masjid to be their home, right?
Absolutely.
It's a home away from home.
That's
so
exactly
when
it,
they've got something going wrong at home or they just need a break, they go to the masjid, and mum and dad know exactly where they are because the masjid is the first place they'll go.
Absolutely,
right?
that's exactly it,
Okay, so Zain, and how about any sisters that you think really shine or have inspired you to continue doing your work?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the sisters, they do far more than us. And
Always,
so I think on the sister side, they're very organized, and the sister side, they run a weekly sisters cafe. So they'll hire out a space for a cafe, and they have all the sisters coming in from various ages, between 14 up to 18, and some even older aunties and stuff come in as well. And it's very similar to
aunties.
Who come in and stuff. So no, not to anyone here. You're very young, but they run it, and it's, again, like you said, Zainab, it's a non-judgmental, free, safe space for them to talk, and with that Islamic lens. Sometimes you want to discuss contemporary issues, but with someone who understands you and your background and things like that, and it's really good. So
and also I think it's very beautiful that you mentioned the aunties. Actually, I'm going to play on that word now.
Absolutely,
because there is a huge intergenerational gap, and we've picked up on that during COVID, where we've got this generation of believers that came into the country many years ago, and then we've got this disconnect of this generation that were so in search for trying to identify who they were. Am I a Muslim? Am I British? Am I Pakistani? Am I Bengali? Am I Mauritian? What is my identity? And somewhere in that journey, our faith got lost. And, I say that from experience, because born in the 80s, raised in the 90s, and that's what we were going through. And now you see this transition, and the narrative is changing, where the youth is now embracing their faith, and tradition and culture comes as a secondary, which is exactly how it should be. But there's still a disconnect where I feel like organisations like yourself are connecting. You've all mentioned having sisters and elderly come to your workshops and different age groups that you're targeting, and it's so important to kind of bridge that gap between the generations. Because, our elderly, they are insightful, and they bring with them stories, history, that we need to also embed in our youth for them to understand the importance of our faith and the journey that we've kind of gone through. Your story is an incredible story. You've lived on different countries, different continents. You've experienced different walks of life, mashallah. So, that needs to be relayed to the youth as well, for them to appreciate where you are today, mashallah. So if I was to say to you, if there's one thing you would like to change this year, now this is for all three of you, we'll go one at a time. Zainab, we'll start with you.
Gosh, that's a big
Or should we come back to you? Start with Kulthum. If there was one thing that you want to achieve today for your...
not change, achieve.
Achieve, yeah.
Oh,
one thing you would like to achieve this year for 2025 in terms of all of your existing achievements, what would you like to see?
I'd like the youth provision to grow. I would like to look at it as working in conjunction with other masjids and other youth hubs, because I do think that what's really important is having that connection, because we can very easily become very isolated in our own communities, or even within our own homes, as you said, we're using devices. So for me, it's just about expansion. It's about reaching out to different hubs, different youth centres.
So I'm taking away collaboration from that.
Collaboration, absolutely. I think collaboration is definitely, and we want to put like a calendar program together where we don't just work with our own kids, but we work with kids from other ones. We did, like, for instance, at Qibla, you go to a different masjid because we happened to be in that area because we were going on a field trip, and being in that masjid brought something different than even I could have brought because, of their experiences and speaking to their sort of Islamic leaders in their community, and they provided a talk with us, and it was just like sharing.
Okay, great. I'm going to quickly come to you. What would you like to see? Would you like to achieve this year? Keep it.
Okay, so alhamdulillah, like Sister Kulthum said, actually, I misunderstood your question at the first time, so forgive me. Yes, more collaboration work, but also for us personally at GreenStars MCEC, it's the work that we are building up now with the 18 to 23-year-olds and making that a strong provision to help, because we've realised we've created a very safe space that these girls have been able to come forward to us and say to us, we haven't enjoyed uni, first year of uni was very difficult, and they've been able to open up and talk to us. So it's continuing to
sustain that.
Yeah.
Okay,
basically.
Brilliant. And Idris, you tell me, 2025, what are you doing?
No, really good question. I guess ours is, I think, 2 points, but both come under the same heading, which is experience. Essentially, we want to give them a fresh perspective and new experiences. So I think what we're pushing out, some of the goals that we've set this year is to push into kind of delivering kind of trips and field trips and some mountain climbing and things like that to give them a bit of experience in that sense.
Yeah.
And the second part of it alongside that is to kind of give them experience in terms of getting people in the community who have experience, whether that's in academia, careers, or just life stuff, and trying to basically create a place and sessions where they can deliver advice to the youth. And like you said, some of their biggest challenges is, well, if I want to pursue this career, what do I do? Yeah. And we have a wealth, and you'll be so surprised how many communities have such skilled and expertise within them that are just not being cracked open, and we're trying to kind of bring those two together, the people that need experience and then the community who already have a wealth of it, and to essentially just give the youth a head start that we probably didn't have.
Well, listen, you're right. There is a tap of wealth in the Ummah across all, communities, and it's definitely the right way forward. And once again, I'd like to thank you all for coming together today and sharing your inspiring stories with us. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you.
And that brings us to the end of this inspiring segment. It's truly heartwarming to hear about the incredible work being done by these young individuals and the organisations that support them, which is pivotal in that change. Here for Youth and all the award winners are playing a crucial role in shaping a brighter future for our youth. We're changing the narrative. We are thrilled to let you know that Islam Channel attended and covered the second annual Muslim Youth Engagement Awards, capturing all the highlights of this remarkable event. So you'll have a chance to watch that full event right here on Islam Channel. Stay tuned for all the inspiring moments, powerful speeches, and the incredible impact these young leaders are making. But before all of that, it is now time for a quick break. Well, actually, it's not time for a quick break. I think I am not realising what the time is. The show is coming to an end. And I'm so sad. Gosh, we had such a good show today. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed today's show, and I'm going to be back with you tomorrow, 10 a.m. Don't miss it, and get that coffee warm, get that snuggly thing that you snuggle up in, whatever. Just make sure you're tuned in, because it's going to be an incredible show yet again. And remember, Islam Channel is available 24/7 across all platforms, including social media, so you can join in on the conversation using the hashtag Salaam Britain. And you can always catch up on the latest trending stories or favourite shows on the Islam Channel website and mobile phone apps. Last but not least, if you've got something to share or something to voice, please email us at sb@islamchannel.tv. Until tomorrow, may Allah bring you peace and endless blessings in the day ahead. You've been watching Tahreem on Salaam Britain. Assalamu alaikum.